All right, let's dive into a scientific quest that takes us right into the human brain. For decades, we've really only had one main playbook for treating depression. But what if we've been looking in the wrong place? Today, we're going to track the hunt for a completely new kind of antidepressant, one that doesn't just tweak brain chemistry, but actually helps our cells repair themselves from the inside out.
So why this urgent hunt for something new? Well, it's because for millions and millions of people, the antidepressants we have right now, they just don't cut it. This creates what's known as a treatment gap, and that gap is the real driving force behind this entire scientific mission. And this number, man, it really says it all. The data shows that only about 1/3 of patients actually feel better with the very first antidepressant they try. Just let that sink in. For 2 out of every 3 people, that first attempt at treatment doesn't work.
And the challenges just keep piling up from there. For a lot of people, this leads to something called treatment-resistant depression, which can affect more than half of all patients. And even when a medication does finally work, there's a pretty high chance of relapse. A huge reason we're in this spot? A serious lack of innovation. Think about it. In the last 10 years, only 2 fundamentally new types of antidepressants have hit the market. The toolkit is getting old, and we desperately need some new tools.
So instead of just retuning the same brain chemicals we've been focused on for years, some scientists started asking a totally different question. What if we could help ourselves fix themselves? From the inside out. It's a completely different way of looking at the problem.
And that brings us to this little guy, a protein called Sirtuin 6, or just SIRT6 for short. The best way to think about Sirt6 is like your body's own dedicated cellular repair crew. Its main job is to patch up damaged DNA and to make sure your mitochondria, the power plants inside our cells, are running at full steam. The whole idea here is that if we can boost this natural repair process, we can keep our brain cells healthy and energized, which could be a brand new way to fight depression.
And this molecule right here is the key that's designed to switch on that repair crew. It's called SP624. It was specifically engineered to find SIRT6 in the body and flip its switch to on. So the hope for this entire approach really boils down to one simple question. Can this key safely turn the lock?
Which brings us to the moment of truth. This is the most critical step for any new drug. After showing promise in the lab and in animal models, it's finally time to see what happens when it's given to people for the very first time.
This is what's known as a phase 1 trial. Now, the goal here isn't to see if it cures depression yet. That comes later. This step is all about using healthy volunteers to answer 2 absolutely crucial questions. First, and most important, is it safe? Can people tolerate it? And second, what does the human body actually do with the drug? How does it get absorbed, used, and eventually cleared out?
And the researchers were incredibly careful here, running 2 separate studies. The first one, Study 101, gave volunteers just a single dose to check for any immediate safety issues. They also tested if taking it with food changed anything. Then, in Study 102, they gave people daily doses for about a week to see how the drug builds up and if any safety concerns pop up over time.
Okay, so the studies are done, all the samples are collected. Now comes the fun part, decoding the data. The scientists had a few really important questions they needed to answer. So, let's walk through what they found.
All right, first things first, and this is a big one. Did the drug even get where it needed to go? I mean, it doesn't matter how great a molecule is in a test tube if it can't reach a high enough level in your bloodstream to actually do its job.
The scientists had a very clear goalpost. Based on their earlier work, they figured the drug's concentration in the blood had to get above 3.28 nanograms per milliliter to be effective. This was their pass or fail line in the sand.
And the answer was a huge yes. Just look at this graph. See that dotted line way down at the bottom? That's the 3.28 target. Now look at the curves for all 3 doses. They don't just clear the bar, they soar way above it. This was the first major victory. Check one off the list.
The next question is a super practical one. I mean, if this ever becomes a real medicine, people are going to want to know. Does it matter if you take it on an empty stomach or with a meal?
And it turns out, yeah, it does. This graph shows you exactly what happens. The top line is taking the drug while fasting. The bottom line is after a high-fat meal. You can see that with food, the peak concentration is lower and it takes a bit longer to get there. The food definitely slowed things down a bit.
But, and this is the really crucial part, even though the peak was different, the total amount of drug the body was exposed to over 24 hours was almost exactly the same. So while food changes the timing, it doesn't stop you from getting the full effect of the dose. And that is a fantastic result.
And now we come to it. The number one, top priority, most important question of any phase 1 trial. Forget everything else for a second. The bottom line is this: was the drug safe?
The results here were really encouraging. This chart shows that in the longer multi-dose study, about 71% of people had no side effects at all, and the ones who did only reported mild things like a headache. But the most important takeaway is right there in the caption. Across both studies, there were zero, absolutely zero, serious adverse events. That's the home run they were hoping for.
So what does this all add up to? Well, with all these key questions answered successfully, the researchers got exactly what they needed: a clear, confident green light to move on to the next stage.
And this quote from the study's official conclusion just says it all perfectly. The drug was well tolerated, it hit its biological targets, and the results fully support taking the next big step, a phase 2 study, where for the very first time SB624 will be given to patients actually living with depression to see if it can help.
It's so important to see where this fits in the grand scheme of things, though. The journey to a new medicine is incredibly long. Phase 1, proving basic safety in healthy people, is now done. That's a huge milestone. Now, SB624 moves into Phase 2, the first real test of effectiveness. If that goes well, it moves to huge, expensive Phase 3 trials, and only then can it go up for approval. So yeah, there's still a long road ahead.
But this first step is an incredibly promising one. It leaves us with this really fascinating question to think about. For so long, we've been trying to treat mental health by adjusting the chemistry between our brain cells. But what if the next great leap forward comes from something way more fundamental? What if it's about activating our own internal repair crews and fixing our cells from within? This research suggests that's a future that is absolutely worth exploring.